talk about the ideas that roughly Tate developed in the period in the decade between 1977 and 1987, more or less, whose general theme revolved around the special values of L functions and their arithmetic interpretation. So the 1970s is sort of the time when Tate began to be interested in sparse conjecture. I think he was motivated by an interest in modular forms of rate 1 and the connection with two-dimensional on-Artin representations that had been exhibited in the theorem of Serre-Deligne, which he was very interested in at the time. I think we'll hear more about that in Joe Buehler's talk on Thursday. And then he gave a course. He actually gave a course on sparse conjecture, which eventually turned into that green book that was in my previous slide, and which really very much is the way in which we talk about and think about sparse conjecture today. And then a few years later, he became interested in conjectures, sort of chaotic analogs of the Bircham-Twiddicking-Dyer conjectures. I'm going to also talk a little bit about that in joint work with Maser and Teitelbaum. And then shortly after, some refinements of those conjectures. So I'll get to near the end of my lecture. Okay, so then this was kind of, there was a seminar which I'm told, I didn't attend it, but I was told it was very memorable in 1986, which revolved around this, this theory of tame refinements of Bircham-Dyer and Star-type conjectures, which Maser, Tate, and Groves were participants. And then shortly after, you don't really see this line completely, I was admitted to Harvard as a graduate student. This is a very minor event, according to the other events in this chronology. But I wanted to mention here, firstly, because of course what happened in those 10 previous years was, for me, very much part of the intellectual landscape at Harvard, where I became a graduate student. It had a very profound impact on me personally. And also, it gives me a chance to tell a story. So in those days, in 1987, email wasn't widely used. It was just beginning to be used. And and Tate last year was the director of graduate studies. And so he was the one who would get on the phone and call up all the students who had been admitted to Harvard. So he called at home. I wasn't home, but he spoke to my parents. And he spoke to my mother, in fact, in perfect French, and told her that it was accepted. So when I came home, my parents were very impressed that an American professor at Harvard would speak such perfect French. It was not the case for all my Canadian professors at McGill. Still stays in my mind.